Call the meeting to order.
Jenkins?
Here.
Hahn?
Here.
Harden?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Testori?
Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With nothing in the preliminary matters, we move on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second it. Call it.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Testori?
Yes.
Motion carried.
There being no unfinished business, we move on to section 3, new business.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2015-19, approving a donation to Caring for Kids holiday shopping.
Second. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, we found a glitch in that when that originally was drafted, and since the new one has come around, that the funds will actually come out of the administrative general fund.
And this is a Hux approved. Right? I mean, Hux is the one.
Yeah, Hux has been doing it for a number of years.
I have some concerns. I've struggled with this quite a bit because I don't see this as being the city's business. There's no doubt that the Caring for Kids is a worthy cause. I've talked to people who said it's a worthy cause, but the downside is this is an open fundraiser in which the citizens can give money to this without being prompted to through taxation. I don't think it's our business to take tax money and give it to a charity, because I think it sets a precedent for any other charity to come to the city for money. I said I don't doubt their worthiness. I don't doubt the good they do. But the city is faced with an ever tighter budget, and the funds have got to come from somewhere. I think it's more appropriate for a community-minded organization to take this on than it is for the city.
Any other discussion?
I disagree with you. I'll say that. I think you're probably right. I think we do a lot of this and we do more of it than we should.
And there may be a time when we can't do it.
Well, that's the problem I'm struggling with is, I mean, it's a worthy cause, but when do you say no? There's a lot of worthy causes, worthy organizations in Farmer City.
I don't disagree with Scott, because I think there's one thing. I think there's a lot of the non-for-profits who come to us for always something to sponsor. I don't think I think they can raise their own money. I think that one thing, that's one thing I have a problem with myself too. Not to sound to be against everything, but I think somewhere has to quit. I think one thing that we do have, and we sponsor ourselves, is the Heritage Days Festival, which is our thing to do, but maybe we need to look for a sponsor in that too, and they help out. It doesn't say that we can also contribute for that, because that is kind of us showing off the town and everything, but I don't disagree with Scott when he's saying it's.
We've been very generous with a lot of different things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
It used to be a lot worse. There used to be a lot of handouts given out here at one time. Everybody's coming in wanting this and that. So, either we can budget for this every year a little bit, so much, just one set amount, like $1,000 for everything, and let it go at that. Everybody gets their name on the list, figure it out, and off we go.
That's a possibility. We could budget a set amount, and when that's gone, it's gone.
Any other thoughts?
You do that in essence. You have a line in the administration that's public relations. So
there are funds
But then I'll say too, Larry, that we never had a real meeting to ever discuss this. And we're gonna have those meetings this year, just coming there before we do a budget. So we do know who we're gonna give it out to, who does this in the past. So I keep a list of it, and when this comes down, I say, okay, these ones are in line, you get a hold of, and say, okay, you're gonna get this money, and we'll just give it to you. You get the first of the year or whatever, and let it go with that. And then nobody comes back and starts asking for anything more. Fair enough?
Yes.
I'll go along with this time, but from now on, we'll do something different.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'm still torn on this too. And I was thinking, as it goes in the packet over the week, I was thinking the same thing as what you're saying. Because there are some definite groups that we give money to, like, the Pioneer Trans one, but that's one that directly serves some of our citizens in a way that isn't served in any other way. And there are quite a few things like this that we can get, where does it stop,
It's a choice for a person to walk up and donate to this.
Exactly.
If we donate tax money to it, then the residents have not been given the choice.
Hux is asking everybody to participate in this, and I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, yes, the residents in Farmer City has had a choice. They voted you into office, and you represent them, so your vote counts. So, we're a representative type of government, so yes, they choose their elected officials, and the elected officials, vote either yay or nay, and their voice is being heard. But on that, and I understand your different points. The community is impoverished, and Hux does a really good job helping out as many people as possible. I am going to support that. I'm not going to argue for or against it anyway, but I am definitely going to say yes on this. So.
Gentlemen, you can always change the dollar amount if you think it's too much.
I don't think it's too much, Larry. I think it's kind of the principle of the whole thing. It's not just Hux. It's just, there's more than Hux that come in here and ask it. So I think somewhere, like I said, you need to draw the line, figure it out, earmark the ones out, give it to them one time a year and say, this is it, folks. And whoever's been there in the past, come forward when we come down to this budget thing and do something then.
I've not been contacted by an overwhelming number of people that have asked me to vote for this. And so that being conservative, I think that I would not support it.
I think I gotta go with it just because of what it is. It's helping a lot of kids. And we put money in other places that we really didn't get much in return. I think I'll support it.
Any other discussion? Go ahead and call it.
Horn,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Testori,
No.
Jenkins,
Yes.
motion
Make a motion to approve resolution 2015-20, authorizing expenditure to purchase audio-video recording equipment for the city police department.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Mayor, the chief of police had gotten a proposal up from the video equipment company here. The $21,895 is the total. 50% is coming out of the DUI fund. One thing to keep in mind with everything that's going on across the United States, just this past weekend there was a series of vehicle burglaries, and I think that they got into a couple residences. When the police chief caught up with this burglar, a struggle ensued, and if you'd seen the chief's uniform when he came in, he was all soiled. Had that turned south, we wouldn't have had any evidence of it. By wearing a body cam at all times, we'll know what actions our police officers are taking and what actions the public is taking against our police officers. So this includes body cams and DUI cameras in the cars. The DUI cameras in the cars, right now, there's only one working DUI camera. I can tell you that for anything pertaining to an alcohol-related arrest, the state's attorney's office is demanding video. So this isn't a luxury, this is actually a necessity.
And this is the full system, right? I was asking the chief a couple questions about it. So this is the body cams, this is the cameras in the car, this is
Correct.
also the computer equipment, everything. This is
Right.
the whole ball of wax.
And a lot of the computer equipment that he had gotten surplus computers from State Farm, he's having those locally set up. Trent McCartney's doing all that programming on that end. So, yes. As
Okay.
far as installation, the guy's
Installation
going to
training
take,
as well, correct?
yeah, the guy's going to take the old stuff, he can piecemeal it out, and he'll take the old stuff and do it within the installation cost.
So what you're saying, what I got from the chief was half of this is covered by, out of another fund, half of it would come out of
Budget,
police budget.
yes.
Okay.
Is there any grant money in this?
No, there's
So-
none out there right now.
There's none out there? Okay. Because what I read is August 12th, the governor signed a bill to help fund these cameras with grants. I don't know that it's out there yet, but it's a $5 per petition. It's supposed to go to fund these cameras. I've also read some things over the weekend that says the acting officer can't review his own video. And since our chief is an acting officer, who would review it when he's involved?
Well, I don't know if that would include administration. I guess you'd have to get the legal finding from the state's attorney's office or the attorney general's office, either one. And keep in mind that the president signed legislation for body cameras too. They'll release $10 million, and that might outfit 3 police departments. So, when they sign legislation, it's some of those unfunded legislative bills that go around. So, but there's not any money out there floating around right now, Scott, for these.
These cameras will be on at all times. I mean, when there's a stop, they'll be automatic. I mean, they're on.
Correct.
So if there's an issue, we can, complaint or whatever.
Sure. Absolutely.
Can the public request the video under FOIA Act?
I don't know. I'm not up on it that much, Scott. I did see where there was some issues going on over in Leroy, and that there was some FOIA requests that were denied. So I would imagine it would depend on the nature of the case, depending on what's going on with it, on how delicate the releasing of that information would be. So
I would recommend we proactively look into that, so we know ahead of time before so we know an answer before these are installed. We could do that.
that would be something that we'd have to get from the state's attorney.
Either.
Hewitt County's been using the body cams for a long time. I don't know if Clinton is up and running with them, so there's got to be a policy out there floating around somewhere.
Yeah, if we could look at either have the chief do it or yourself, and that way, Sandy, whoever's the face of that, if somebody's asking, they have an answer. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
So is it possible to table this then and tell us?
You want to find out before we vote?
No.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Why not?
I mean, if somebody makes the request,
On a FOIA request?
Well, it's the FOIA request, it's the scrutiny of the police. There's several articles where the ACL's got involved with these cameras. I mean, I like to think our police are straight up and trustworthy, and that there's no question. But what happens when that becomes a question? And who's going to keep the video? Who's going to monitor them? Who's going to review them? I mean, there's a lot of questions about what you do once you get somebody on tape and these become an issue. And I don't know the answer to it. I know what I've read over the last 2 days.
I don't know if I'm following your argument there, though. I mean, if an incident happens, wouldn't the cameras provide it? I mean, we would have access to the tape. I mean, if city council demanded,
That was one question, does the city council have?
Big Boyd comes up, I guess, guys, one way to look at it is that if there's an incident that comes up and you request to see from this time frame to that time frame, and oh, guess what? That was eliminated, then obviously you got a problem. So,
I think we're never restricted from seeing anything if there is an issue, which we aren't. If something comes up, there's an issue with an officer, there's an issue with an arrest, we might be in closed session, but we get to see it. And there's no question about that.
I agree.
Maybe it would be better to have the policy drafted before we say we can get the cameras.
Well, you can, the cameras wouldn't be here tomorrow, so if it's a matter of ordering cameras and if they're 30 days out, you can have a policy in place and approved by the state's attorney.
But we wouldn't know what the policy is before the cameras come. Once they come, you just kind of the horses out of the barn.
You can say,
It's a legal opinion from the state's attorney, so you're not necessarily going to change what he tells you is the rights and the wrongs. He's neutral, he's not going to taint anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's policies out there, because I mean, we're not the first community to get this. So my concern is if we already have vehicles that are in service that don't have the proper equipment, that concerns me. So I'd like to get on that as soon as we can.
And you said that the governor signed it into law saying August 1st that this is a requirement?
No, that there's going to be funding for it.
There's gonna be funding.
They're collecting the money from tickets. It's written to pay for this.
You have every right to request that this be tabled, but we'd have to vote for it. I personally am saying not seeing an argument to table it on that, but you have every right to call for it. So we need a second if that's what you want. I mean, if you want to request that it's tabled until, I'm not sure what you're asking for. Is it, you're asking for there to be a policy in place?
Well, we covered a lot of issues. The first was the money, and the money's coming from the police department, the DUI fund.
Yes.
And there's nothing coming from the state, who has said they're setting money aside to fund these cameras.
I don't know what the state's going to come up with.
That's House Bill 3911.
So you're saying suggest wait for the state.
I'd like to make sure that there's not money available before we pay it, before we foot the whole bill. And then the other questions from the stuff I've read have to do with the administration part of this. The very larger cities, the chief may not be an acting officer, he may be the chief, so he handles all the videos and reviews the videos, but he doesn't review the video, he doesn't have a video of himself being in it. We're a small town. Chances are you're going to have our chief involved in the incident with the body camera, then who's going to review his video to see if he's right or wrong or what happened.
It'll be Larry, which would be his boss, or us.
that's us.
Us.
That's us.
So you got to decide who's going to handle this administrative part of this.
I think the cameras are a good idea, because
Yeah, and it says Illinois drivers will pay a $5 fee on traffic tickets to help equip the police officer. Is that a statewide thing? Does the state thing, or every officer?
I believe it's statewide.
Yeah, but does that go to the department who issues the tickets? So, I mean, I'm just not seeing that. I just don't. I'm looking at this paper. I'm not necessarily seeing where it says that funds are going to be made available, and definitely don't trust the state saying they're going to make funds available when they don't even know where their budget is. The cost of body cameras and new training will be covered by a $5 extra fee on criminal and traffic offenses that result in a guilty plea or conviction. The fee won't apply to parking, registration, or pedestrian offenses. So I think that just gives us the legal right to set the $5 aside for it. It's not necessarily any funding, unless you see something different here than I do.
Can we apply after the fact?
Well, it doesn't say that there's considered body I don't see that it's saying that there's any necessary money, just that you can, Illinois drivers will pay an extra $5 fee on traffic tickets to help equip police officers with the body cameras under sweeping new law. I think that just gives you the legislative power to add $5 to a speeding ticket. So I'm just not seeing that, so unless I'm missing something.
Maybe an ongoing question.
Question.
Is anyone is anyone asking to table it?
I would motion to table it.
Is there a second? There is no second. Call it. This is not to table it, this is for the vote.
Harden,
yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Tessari,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
motion carried.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2015-21, authorizing financing for a pre-owned utility truck.
I'll second
Discussion.
The current truck that we have is an old Illinois power truck that was purchased, it's a 1990. Bobby Harakovic was the city administrator, if any of you remember her. It's got a weak motor. The guys say that it's not even safe actually to be taking it outside the building. The 19,500, there are several good used trucks out there on the market. I've been to Baum Motor Company. They're actively looking for one. What we'd like to do is to take that, and as we go farther down the agenda, we'll take a piece of surplus equipment to use as a trade-in as well. This would be financed at the Heartland Bank. I've been in contact with them. So if we finance it over 3 years, it's something that will work into the street department budget.
What's the rate?
I didn't ask what the rate was. I can just tell you that the semi-annual payment's gonna be $3,600. So, we're not locked into anything, so I mean, as far as what the rate is. The truck's just wore out. There's just no other way to put it. And that, okay.
Any questions?
Is that a vehicle that stays at the shop in the evenings?
Inside the building?
Well, it stays at the shop. Is it taken home?
No.
No, that's just a regular shop truck.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the budget to pay for it out of pocket.
No, we do not.
Is this a street vehicle?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
I mean, it's done in the street department's using it or the water department's using it?
It's assigned to the street department. I mean, out there, all departments use stuff. It's got the water department supplies in it when there's a broken water main or something. It's truly the only utility truck that the city has.
You know, the other thing too is getting a new truck. I go travel a lot during the day, go to different towns, and I see their vehicles, and they're all in pretty good shape. I come back here and we're not in that good shape. I think we need to start really getting on a program where those things are cleaned out, the cabs are cleaned out, the windows are washed, the trucks are washed.
I was actually going to discuss that later.
Because it needs to be taken care of, because we're putting too much money into this thing. And, because they look like, I'm embarrassed. I see one of ours go down the street, it's got paint coming off of it, and it's dirty, and stuff hanging out of it and everything.
1990 and the paint's falling off of it.
But it doesn't have to be a 1990, it could be a 2005 one too, it could be just as bad off. I mean, one is only, or 2010.
Well, we've gotten creative. Willard, city manager, had a fairly new car, and I traded that in about the first year and got the guys a pickup truck, and then we went out and we found another used pickup truck. We need to get into a fleet maintenance program. I'll tell you that since we got on this, the big old state truck's in 1987. We bought that through CMS. It's falling apart. It's just, the frame's starting to rot on it. It was down at Phil Schmitz's, and he did a lot of fabrication. So the dump bed literally wouldn't fall off. The backhoe was in 1996. That thing should have been replaced several years ago, but a previous city council didn't want that to happen. So we've allowed our equipment to deteriorate.
No.
And I'm slowly trying to replace it to get by buying quality used stuff until we can get to where we can buy new stuff. So.
Well, let's go to the backhoe, because I remember one time we bought backhoes on a time-type basis.
Yes.
Like every 3 to 4 years, and they come
Two
back
case, yes.
and they would come back around and we trade it in and get a new one. We just kept upgrading ourselves and even getting a little bigger one even the next time around.
Yes.
Now, can we still do something like that?
Absolutely. I had the case dealer here back in the spring, and I had a trade-in proposal. We were still going to come in at about $38,000 on a case backhoe. We can finance that through case leasing. So yes, that is still a possibility. So
State bid. Is there,
State bid for, light duty trucks, the Ford dump truck that we purchased a year ago, that was purchased through state bid. So, I mean, there are specific vehicles out there that you can buy. Pickup trucks, light duty pickup trucks.
do bonds recognize state bid?
No, they do not.
They do not.
No.
Well, I think we need, good stuff. If we can't afford new, we get good used stuff, and once we get it, take care of it.
Well, I'll tell you, back during the winter, there was an old beater, the old beater truck. It was also a 1990, and the guys took it out to the shed, and they gave it one of those Earl Scheib paint jobs, and did a little bit of work on it. It's used at the sewage treatment plant, but it was ugly too, the paint was coming off. It was that vintage of GM's bad paint jobs. So, just to make it look better, more presentable. But this truck has mechanical issues. It's just, it's tired. So,
Any other discussion or comments?
I have a question about the name. Put your name, you're not putting your names on the loan, right? You're not on the hook for that.
I'm not on the hook for it. It's a bank issue. Sandy can tell you this is something that they asked for. We're not sure why.
Somebody has to sign the note. They're representatives of the city, so they're gonna sign the note.
Okay.
I mean, usually the note says city manager by title, but
Right.
they want to be specific to a name,
Okay.
and we're not sure why. No, I'm not buying the city a truck.
Well, I want to make sure you didn't get on the hook for payment for the dang thing.
Yeah. You see it sitting in my driveway at night. Oh, no, I did.
So would you buy the city a truck?
No.
We better call
McKinley,
Yes.
Testori,
Yes.
Jenkins,
him. Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
motion carries.
Make a motion to approve resolution, ordinance 955, declaring surplus specified personal property owned by the city of Farmer City.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are these the vehicles you're trading in for the truck?
The old Impala squad car would be used as a trade-in. The digger derrick would be listed through an internet service. And surplus, yes. And it's not worth a lot because the company's no longer in business. You can't get parts for it. So that's why, Scott, before you got on, last year we bought a used digger derrick because this truck was not serviceable any longer.
I didn't see Derek on here. Show me where I'm missing that.
Well, the digger, it's on my,
Oh. Okay. Well, I see it says you're going to go through the Farmer City Press. Is there a bigger circulation? I don't understand.
no. We're just gonna list them as surplus, so.
Does they go all the way to Panagraph and News Gazette, or is that just,
News Gazette.
okay.
Does it, Jerry?
What's that?
Does it go into the News Gazette if we put it into the FC Press, FC the
I honestly don't know.
I know there has been stuff before that we've given the Farm City Journal, and it's gone to the News Gazette, so. You can advertise on the internet for free, so.
All right.
So go ahead and call him.
Testori,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
motion carries.
Goes to section 4, city manager's report.
Obviously, the pool closed as of Labor Day. I believe that they've already taken some of the water down. I had a kid up there, young man that was a lifeguard that Jill had recommended as a good worker. And in the spring, it's damp in there, it's cool, and there was a lot of painting that needed to be done. I don't know, some of you were up there when the chamber had their nighttime thing, and if you walked around, you'd seen a lot of paving paint. So I kept this young man on, and he's going to paint the the boys and the girls shower stalls. We're going to get the floor painted. So we're going to do a little extra work. Going to keep him on until all that work is done, or as much as that work as possible is done. So now's the time to do it. It's warm and it's dry inside that building. I've got a hold of the Farnsworth group. This is just an idea. So if it doesn't have too much negative feedback, I've talked with Mark Gardner about the West Side subdivision and sprucing it up, because if we could go north with that, as you come in, that's pretty dull looking. Street lights are more of an industrial-based street light instead of an ornamental. So Mark is looking at some different ornamental lights, be LED, that would go out there. Take those commercial-grade lights down. I've gotten a hold of the Farnsworth group to come out, look at sidewalks, because sidewalks were supposed to be put in when that subdivision was built. The funding is there. And then we would take those street lights and bring them out here along 54, so people would realize that there's more to Farmer City than just that four-way intersection. That would get people drawn on up the highway, hopefully. Get that illuminated a little bit. So, and that work can be entailed through using the TIP funds that are out there in place. The gentleman from Farnsworth hasn't come down yet.
Question
Yes, sir.
about lighting. Can these lights we have up on Main Street here, can they have LEDs put in them?
Yes, they can. Mark had, and we discussed this all at once, Mark was going to get a retro kit and see what he could do to bypass some of the ballast work that's inside of them. And I think the first light that he was going to try was going to be over at the library, because it's by itself, and just see if anybody really noticed the difference with that lighting. So, yes.
It would be nice if they were brighter.
He says that it will be more of a wider light, and it will stay down. So,
Yeah,
Can we change those globes? Can those ever be changed
yes. You mean to a different style?
to a different style possibly?
I don't think so. We looked at that when we were working with the USDA on a streetscape, and I think that is the only globe that'll fit that particular light
But we can
bulb.
get one that is a light, is that what makes it look orange, or is it?
It's the lamp. Yeah, it's the lamp.
Because personally, I would like to see our uptown brighter.
Yes.
I'm not big on the amber.
And it's a lot brighter than what it used to be. But anyway, yes. IMEA had some funding for power saving, so we have issued them a grant application. When Casey's came to town, they came in and they had asked about power saving. So there was some funds available. There was still about $5,200 left in the kitty that had to be used by the end of the year. So with Huck's doing some upgrades out there, it took them out an application. They'll have to send that directly to IMEA if they get all the paperwork done. So that is something else that was worked on. And then, I don't know if any of you have heard or have noticed, but there was a request a month and a half ago about the tree back here in the alley, over here by the Methodist Church. We had that tree taken down. We actually had an arborist come to town and had looked at that tree per the request of the individual that came in and made a presentation to you folks. That arborist said that that tree needed to come down immediately, that tree actually did pose a hazard. So that tree has since been taken down. I believe that the stump's already been removed as well. So, and you had asked about TIP. I have had a couple different conversations with Ken Beth. Ken Beth will work with us on drafting a new TIP. The new TIP can overlay a large portion of the TIP that was allowed to expire. He did suggest that a gentleman by the name of Keith Moran from Moran Economic Development out of Edwardsville come up and meet with the city council to go over some of the issues that come up with TIP, to make sure that you are completely aware of the proper workings of the TIP. He would like to come up the 29th at 6:30. That is his first availability. I told him that I would tell you guys tonight and get back with him.
Scott?
Yes, good.
Good? Yes, it is.
I told him that, we didn't want to go real late because it'd be a couple hours, and he just kind of chuckled and said, no, I don't think it'll be a couple hours. Anything that he needs to tell you, we can get covered in about an hour. So, but anyway, if that's what you'd like to do, then I'll get back with him tomorrow and get
You
him
said
to come up
6:30,
here.
right?
Yes, on the 29th.
6:30?
Yes, sir.
What's his name again?
Keith Moran. You can go to the internet and type up Moran Economic Development and find his pedigree. Now, there again, he came highly recommended by. So that's what I've got, gentlemen.
Any questions to the city manager's report?
Also, too, the tank, the tree on the west side or east side of town came down too over the weekend. It can come down on its own. Luckily, nobody was there.
Any non-agenda items or other business?
I got a couple things I want to bring up. We just need to address the Little League field up here at, by the football field. It's just overcome by weeds.
Well, the Casey Hardesty's wife is in charge, and she did call because they wanted to get some electrical work done, and then they're going to till all that up back. So that's going to get worked up by the Baseball Association.
Yeah, it needs some attention.
I saw that.
What's the update on the bathrooms out at South Park?
Well, just so you know, that donation that we received was to pay for the materials, and the labor was donated by a different individual. So his time frame was he would work on it as time allowed. I contacted him a couple different times, Mac, and he tells me that when he gets some of these other projects,
Who is it?
it'd be Joel Goss,
Okay.
that he will get it finished.
Well, I've been asked by several people, nothing's happening on it.
I understand.
I mean, by the person that donated the money, one of them.
Well, I definitely appreciate people volunteering their time and service, but working with a lot of non-for-profits, that means that paying customers come first.
Right. I understand, but
And we obviously should have set a time when we have to say the job's got to be done. So I would hope it's going to be done by kickoff of next season.
I anticipate it being done this year.
Any other non-agenda items, other business?
drugstore update. What's going on with that?
Donna Matera is trying to get a local person to be her pharmacist. So
I mean, are we
I'm
looking
not
at,
into the negotiations on that, but I do know that that is currently taking place.
Has the
are they
state
looking
agreed?
at being
Yes.
open this fall, or?
I don't know, Mac.
So the state's done their part, so now we're just,
Yes.
they're just waiting on the part. Okay,
Yes.
well, that's moving at least.
So the pharmacists they had did not decide not to come up?
I don't know.
Yeah. We've got a lot of money invested there, and there's a lot of people really wanting that to open. And,
I'm ready for it to open. I'm tired of driving to Honda to
yeah.
get something for my kids.
Any other non-agenda items? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Scott's got it.
Scott's got it. Paul?
Dickens?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
McKinley? Tesori?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Move the